Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'd like to show you how you can make one of these little ring storage boxes just out of a piece of firewood. So I picked up this piece of log about 2 years ago now. I believe it's from an ash tree, and I've been drying it out, and you can see there's no cracks in the end grain there. It's dried out nicely, it's nice and dry now, and the bark is nice and solid, so I don't think the bark is going to come off. So I should be able to keep the bark on, and that way it should look quite nice and rustic. It's quite a straight piece, so I'm going to use this to make some ring boxes. The log measures around 30 centimeters, so I'm thinking I want to try and get 3 boxes out of this piece at about 9 centimeters in width each. That'll give me a total of 27 centimeters with 3 centimeters to spare, and that'll give me a little bit of room with the thickness of the blade. So to begin with, I need to flatten the bottom of this log, and then I can run this along the bandsaw later on to cut the boxes into 2 pieces. So what I'm going to use is a number 4.5 hand plane. I've got the blade nicely sharpened, and I'm going to get this in the vise and create a nice flat bottom. Right, so now there's a nice flat bottom on here, and I want to get as much out of this piece of material as I can. So there's a bit of chipped bark here, so I'm going to avoid that and start around here for the first cut. And then I'm actually going to go with, I think, about 8 centimeters. That seems to be about the right width for these boxes. There's the first one, and this doesn't have to be particularly accurate. And the third one will end up about here. So I've got some marks here for the miter saw. I'm going to cut 1, 2 and 3 boxes. So I've been through my collection of reclaimed hinges, and I've found these should be suitable, but they're going to need a quick clean up first with the wire brush. Now the 3 pieces are cut out. The hinges that I'm going to use need a flat spot at the back, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark up roughly where the hinge would need to go, and then I'm just going to make some marks at the top and the bottom so I know how far to go with the disc sander. So actually I've changed my mind. What I think I'm going to do instead of using the disc sander is just get it in the vise and use the number 4 hand plane to work my way down to these lines that I've just made. Okay, so now all 3 are cut out. That was a pretty good workout. If you're cutting through hardwood such as this ash with a hand plane, you'll know it's quite strenuous work, but that's good. Keeps you fit. And as you can see, these hinges have got plenty of nice flat area now to attach. So the next thing I need to do is to cut these boxes in half on the bandsaw. So now I'm going to use that first flat area that I made with the hand plane against the fence to cut this piece in half. So now I'm just going to clean up those bandsaw cuts with some 80 grit sandpaper. So for the hole to accommodate some rings, I want to make it nice and spacious, so I'm going to go with a 40mm Forstner bit. So now I just need to mark out the area that I'm going to drill. I'm going to get it roughly central. Doesn't have to be perfect. And now I'm going to make a mark in the centre, and that's ready to drill. I'm going to use this little scrap of fake leather that I've got. I removed this from an old sofa years ago, and I want to use this to line the hole here. So I've set my compass to 20 centimeters, which is half the diameter of the hole, and I should be able to scribe out a shape on here and then cut it out and add it in. And now I'm going to cut them out with the scissors. So now I've got the box clamped up in position so it keeps still while I mark up the hinge. Just getting it roughly centre by eye, then checking with the tape measure. That's about right. And then I can just use a pen to dot where the pilot holes need to go. Now I've fitted these little brass hinges on, I'm not sure about the look. I don't think they look big enough, and I found this brown hinge, I've got a couple of these, that I think will fit better. It seems to look better, goes almost all the way across the back, and I think they're a better match with the clasps that I'll be using too. So there's the new hinge. Somehow I just think that looks better. Let me know what you think. So now I just need to add the front clasp onto the box. I've got it clamped together so it doesn't move. And I'm just going to position it all roughly by eye. So once the top part is on, I can then offer up the bottom part and use that to sort of clamp it in position and then that way as well I know that it's going to close because it's already in the closed position. And then I'm going to mark again for pilot holes with the pen. Now I just need to add the red material into the hole. So for that I'm just going to use a little bit of wood glue. That should do the job. So now the only thing left to do is to finish these, and for that I'm going to be using some boiled linseed oil. So after about half an hour, now I'm going to buff off any excess oil with a cloth. Okay, so that's about it then for this video. So there you have it, a nice little storage box for your rings, just made out of a scrap log. The clasp works well at the front. I think the big hinge at the back works well too. Nice looking little item, and I'm glad I added that red inner part. That looks quite nice. So if you did find this video useful, please remember to like and also consider subscribing for more DIY related videos. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.